Hello and welcome back to the channel, and today I'm out on my Suzuki V-Strom 800, having just made a video where I go through all of the accessories I've put on it to make it into kind of the ultimate touring vehicle. But one thing that I thought deserved its own video was the cruise control system. This is a cruise control system from Veridian Cruise. Here is the button. And the problem with the system, with the Suzuki V-Strom, is that there is no factory fit option from Suzuki, so you have to go aftermarket. And the only video I could find on the Veridian system is a sponsored video where the YouTuber earns a commission as a result of any sales that go through that video. I'm not calling anyone out here, I've got no problem with sponsored videos. I just thought it'd be useful to get a completely independent video with no bias whatsoever that isn't sponsored. So that's what this is. And there are a few things that I think are worth mentioning that weren't covered in the other videos that I've seen. So in this video, I'm going to tell you everything about the Veridian cruise control system for the V-Strom 800. I'll show you how it works and I'll show you the bad things about it as well as the good things. All right, so now we're going to jump on the bike and I'll show you how it works. Okay, so now we're on the bike and I can show you how the cruise control system works. First thing to say is that the little control box I had to install on the right side of the mirror, not the left-hand side of the mirror, because when I put it on the left-hand side of the mirror, the clutch ended up, when you pull it in, it was touching the instrument cluster, so you couldn't pull it 100% of the way in, which is a slight shame because that would have been really easy just to touch access the cruise control buttons there, but it's not much more of a stretch to put it over there. However, that's the only drawback in terms of the install, so let's see how it works. It's a 3-button system then. To engage it, you press the bottom button. There we go, we're now in cruise control. The bottom button also reduces the speed, the top button increases the speed, and the middle button disengages the cruise control system. The top button is also your resume button, so let me demonstrate that now. So if I disengage it by pressing the middle button, we're now slowing down nicely, and I'll press resume, and as you can see, we're picking back up speed and we're going back up to the speed that the cruise control system was previously set at. It picks up, when you press resume, it picks up at a reasonable pace, so it's fairly smooth. I do find the first couple of times I did it, it felt a little bit jerky with a pillion on the back, but it's totally fine and pretty similar to other cruise control systems I've had, factory cruise control systems I've had on a motorbike. The other thing to say though about the buttons is if you press plus or minus, so we're currently doing 55 miles an hour, and if I press plus, oops, flash the lights as well. If I press plus, it will go up to 57 miles an hour. And I tend to find it goes up and down, and let's press down again, probably go back to 55. It goes up and down in increments of about 1.5 to 2 miles an hour, something like that. So it's not as slick as the usual factory fit cruise control system that is 1 mile an hour increments. And on a factory fit cruise control system, you've normally got a little dial down here that tells you a small number by the speed that tells you the target speed of the cruise control. So the target speed of the cruise control is currently 55, but if I were to press that 5 times and go up to 65 on a factory fit cruise control system, it would tell you that it would have a little thing that says 65 in the bottom corner, and that tells you that that's the speed that the cruise control is set at. Not a big deal, but it is a system, it is a feature that you get on most factory cruise control systems. The other feature that you get on most factory cruise control systems that you don't get on this is one of the abilities to disengage the cruise control. So you can press the middle button there, which I'll do now. There you go. Slow down, press resume again, and we get back onto it. So you can press the middle button to disengage it, or obviously you can touch either the front brake or the rear brake, which I've just done there accidentally. Guy behind me is probably going to get annoyed. You can touch either brake and it will disengage it as well. You can't disengage it by pulling the clutch in. So if I pull the clutch in there, it just revs. Even if I pull it in for ages, it just keeps going and the engine just revs. If you change gear, which I'll do now, it does do it. So when you change, oh sorry, hang on, now I pressed the brake, wrong pedal there. If you change gear, then there you go, it disengages it when you change gear, and obviously this bike's got a quick shifter, so it disengages it when you change gear. Press the middle button, that's the disengage button, or touch either brake. But the one way that it doesn't have to disengage it, that most factory cruise control systems do, is that you can't roll your throttle hand forward. That's how I disengage motorcycle cruise control normally, is I just roll my throttle hand forward, but actually it doesn't move. It doesn't, normally it's kind of set back a little bit. That's not the case on this, so you physically can't roll the throttle forward. But actually the smoothest way I find to disengage this particularly when you've got a pillion on, is to turn the throttle. So if you twist the throttle, there you go, now it's disengaged. If you accelerate slightly, and I believe it's only like 5% throttle twist or something like that, but you can accelerate very slightly and that will disengage it. And particularly if you've got a pillion, that I find is the smoothest way to do it. So that's how the system works, but it does have one last trick up its sleeve. Usually cruise control systems on motorbikes are limited in the gears they work in. So on my Yamaha MT-10, I think it doesn't work in third gear or below, and I think it doesn't work below 40 miles an hour. That is not the case for this bike. I'll cut to a clip of me demonstrating how it worked in lower gear and lower speed. I did try it in first gear at 5 miles an hour, which didn't work, perhaps unsurprisingly, but then when I tried it in second gear at 16, 17 miles an hour, something like that, it did work, which is actually really impressive. So if you ever get stuck in a 20 mile zone or you're going past a school or whatever, it will work, and you don't have to be in high gear in order for that to work. Now, in terms of the highest speed that the cruise control will work at, I can't tell you the exact number, but I can tell you that it works at 105 miles an hour, which I was slightly surprised that it would work over 100 miles an hour. Now obviously I did that on a track that I wouldn't dream of doing 100 miles an hour on a public road, but I can confirm that it works over 100 miles an hour. How much higher than that it can go, I can't tell you, but 100 miles an hour it is good for. So that is absolutely everything you need to know about how it works. So what I'm going to do now is pull over. In fact, I'm going to pull over here and I'll do a quick summary of the pros and cons as I see it. All in all then, I think the Veridian Cruise Control for the V-Strom 800 is a really good bit of kit. There are a couple of features that it's missing that you would get if it was a Suzuki factory option, but you can't get that from Suzuki, and even then, I don't mind missing those features at all, and there's no deal breaker whatsoever. I think the system cost me about £300, including shipping all the way over from Canada to the UK, which I think is reasonable value. And in terms of fitting, I had it installed by my local Suzuki dealer because you needed to lift the tank, which is one step beyond me, and they charged me an hour's labour, which is pretty good value as well. The only thing I can't tell you about is long-term reliability. I've had it on for maybe a month or so, and I've only done about 300 miles in that time, so who knows how it'll get on long-term. I've got no reason to suspect it'll go wrong, but I just can't tell you. Now I think that just about wraps it up, but if I've missed anything or if you've got any questions, let me know in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed the video, give me a thumbs up and subscribe for next time. And until then, ride safe.